Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a quiet moment, maybe early in the morning or late at night, where the world is still, and a tiny voice inside you whispers, maybe, just maybe, I can. That whisper is the beginning of everything. And this book, You Can by George Matthew Adams, is for that exact moment. Reminds you of everything you already carry within, your strength, your honesty, your power to begin again. It speaks to your soul, not your ego. Let's know about the book and the man behind it. Back in the early 1900s, George Matthew Adams wasn't some flashy guru. He was a humble newspaper columnist, writing short, soulful essays in a daily column called Today's Talk. And yet, millions of people, day after day, would turn to his words like a warm cup of tea on a cold morning. Because in just a few simple lines, Adams would deliver what most people were starving for: hope, direction, and belief. His writing had no fluff, no complexity, just timeless truths. Eventually, these powerful essays were collected and published as a book called You Can. And over a century later, this book is still here, still whispering into hearts across generations. And the reason is simple: its truths don't age. Now you might wonder, in an age of AI, high-speed internet, billion-dollar startups, and influencer culture, what can a 100-year-old book possibly teach us? The answer? Everything that truly matters. Because while the world has changed, the soul of a human being hasn't. We still crave meaning. We still struggle with self-doubt. We still forget our own power. We still search, not outside but within. And that's where You Can enters. Like a trusted friend. Like a wise old mentor. It doesn't try to change who you are. It helps you return to who you were before the world told you what you couldn't do. It reminds you that you can start fresh today. You can build character that commands quiet respect. You can use your imagination to shape your reality. You can rise no matter how far you've fallen. You can serve, lead, and love without needing the world's permission. It's not about motivation for a moment. It's about transformation for a lifetime. You don't need to be a business owner to read this book. You don't have to be chasing goals or building empires. Even if you're simply someone trying to live a little better, love a little deeper, or think a little clearer, this book is for you. Whether you're a student confused about your future, a homemaker trying to juggle 10 things at once, an office worker buried in routine, or a dreamer standing on the edge of self-doubt. So here we are. You, me, and a book that's more than 100 years old, yet feels written for this very moment. Now let's begin. Part 1. Today is your most important day. You can begin again. Today is yours. What if I told you that no matter how yesterday went, you get to start over today? That's exactly what George Matthew Adams believed. He wrote, each day of your life, you can square away for a fresh start. It's today that is the paramount problem always. In a world obsessed with long-term goals and big plans, Adams brings us back to something simple and powerful. This day, right here, right now, is the most important day of your life. Why today matters more than any other day. Think about it. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow isn't promised. But today is yours. And Adams says, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop thinking, I'll start when I'm ready. Because the truth is, you'll never be more ready than you are right now. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe life hasn't been fair. But today doesn't care about your past. It's a blank page, and the pen is in your hand. What can you do with today? You can choose a better thought. You can take one small action toward your dream. You can forgive. You can begin. Even if it's just getting out of bed with a different mindset. Even if it's just smiling at someone you usually ignore. Even if it's just breathing deeply and saying to yourself, I'm not done yet. That's the power of today. And Adams reminds us, it's not about doing something big. It's about doing something now. Here's a gentle challenge from this chapter. When you wake up tomorrow, before you check your phone, before the world pulls at you, pause, put your feet on the floor, and ask yourself, what will I do with this one precious day? Because no matter how lost you feel, no matter how many yesterdays you regret, today still believes in you. And that's enough reason to start again. So, what does George Matthew Adams teach us here? Not to wait, not to dwell, but to live fully, not next week, not next year, today. Because in the end, your whole life is just a collection of todays. Part 2. Time is your most precious treasure. Don't just spend time. Plant it. Let me ask you something. If I handed you 1,000 rupees and told you to spend it wisely, you'd think twice before wasting it, right? But what if I handed you a single hour, a fresh, new hour of your life? Would you treat it the same way? Or would it disappear into scrolling, distractions, and mindless noise? That's exactly the kind of reflection George Matthew Adams offers in this quiet, piercing chapter on time. He believed, and rightly so, that time is our most sacred wealth. And yet, it's the one treasure we often throw away without even thinking. In one of his essays, Adams writes, "Time is your most precious seed. Plant it wisely, and it will grow miracles." Such a short sentence, but think about what it means. We often treat time like it's unlimited. We say, "I'll do it later." We say, "It's just one more hour." But those hours? They add up. And when they're gone, we don't get them back. He urges us not to kill time, but to cultivate it. Time isn't something you pass. It's something you invest. How do you invest time? Adams didn't mean we should rush or constantly stay busy. No, he meant, use your time to build, to grow, to heal, to connect, and most importantly, to live with purpose. Here's what that could look like. Spend 15 minutes journaling your thoughts, not scrolling. Read 5 pages of a book that changes your thinking, not gossip. Call a loved one, not just like their photo. Sit with silence and breathe. Reclaim your inner world. Even the smallest acts, done with intention, can change the course of your day, your life. Because every minute spent with awareness becomes a seed for your future self. We all fall into it. We think, "I'll start after this week is over. I'll rest once I've earned it. I'll call my parents tomorrow. I'll work on my dreams someday." But here's the truth Adams never shied away from. Later is the most dangerous lie we tell ourselves. There is no perfect moment waiting around the corner. There is no ideal time to begin. There is only now. And now is more than enough. Take a moment right now. Ask yourself, where is my time going? Is it being spent building the life I want? Or is it slipping through my fingers? Don't be harsh with yourself. Don't rush to guilt. Just become aware. Because awareness is the first step to transformation. As Adams would say, if time is slipping, you don't need to chase it. You just need to redirect it. Start with 5 minutes. That's it. Use it intentionally. And suddenly you're no longer losing time, you're leading it. One day far ahead you'll look back. You won't remember every achievement or every to-do list you finished, but you will remember the hours you gave to your dreams, the minutes you spent fully present with someone you love, the time you chose courage instead of fear, the moments when you said, "I won't waste another day." And all of that starts with this moment right now. So what is Adams really telling us? That time is sacred. It's not just a number. It's not something to kill. It's not a burden. Time is a gift, the kind that doesn't come wrapped in boxes, but in chances to show up, to start again, to become the person you know you're meant to be. Part 3. Imagination is the seed of your future. What you see within, you create without. Close your eyes for a moment, not just to rest, but to see not the world around you, but the world within you. Because deep in your mind, beyond your doubts, beyond logic, beyond fear, there's a place that holds your dreams, your potential, and your future. It's called imagination. And George Matthew Adams believed this simple truth. Imagination is the outpost of the soul. Train it, trust it, use it. He saw imagination not as fantasy, but as blueprint, not as escape, but as creation. And in this chapter, he reminds us, the future doesn't begin with action. It begins with vision. Think about everything you love today, your home, your job, your favorite invention, even this audiobook you're listening to. It all began in someone's imagination. A thought, a spark, a moment of what if. And George Matthew Adams urges us to realize, if we can imagine it, we can begin building it. The problem isn't lack of resources. The problem is that most people stop dreaming. We grow up. We get busy. We become realistic. But what is realism, really? Isn't it just a cage made of fear? Adams whispers to us, break that cage. See again. Imagine again. Create again. Somewhere between childhood and adulthood we were told, stop daydreaming. That idea is silly. You can't make money doing that. Be practical. And so, we shrunk. We stopped seeing what could be. We only saw what was. But Adams believed, the dreamers changed the world because they dare to live from the inside out. He says, your imagination is your private power plant. It can light up the darkest road, if only you turn it on. You don't need to be an artist or inventor to use imagination. Here's how you can begin today. Before stepping out, imagine how you want your day to feel. Calm, powerful, focused. Let that picture guide your actions. Speak possibility. Instead of saying, I don't know how, say, I'm figuring it out. Let your words water the seeds of belief. Rehearse the better version of you. Imagine yourself confident, kind, focused. Walk through your day mentally as if it's already true. These small moments of vision, done daily, reshape your mindset. And mindset? That's where all change begins. Let this sink in. Every great thing that's ever been built was first just an idea in someone's head. So what's in your head today? An idea? A whisper? A little spark? Don't dismiss it. Don't wait for permission. Because that crazy little idea might be the very thing that rewrites your future. Adams never asked us to live in fantasy, but he begged us not to abandon possibility. He believed imagination was a gift from the soul, a way to talk to the future before it arrives. He writes, use your imagination like a compass. Let it point to where your heart wants to go, then take the first step. Part 4. Live by a personal philosophy, not pressure. When the world shouts, let your inner voice lead. The world is loud. It tells you what success looks like, what happiness should feel like, what you must do to be accepted, admired, or seen. And if you're not careful, you start living by the world's expectations, not your own truth. That's where George Matthew Adams steps in with one of his most quietly powerful lessons. To live meaningfully, live by a philosophy, not by pressure. Because the greatest strength isn't in following the crowd. It's in knowing what you stand for and living by it. What is a personal philosophy? A personal philosophy is your inner compass. It's a quiet set of principles that guide you, even when the world is uncertain. It answers, what do I believe in? Or what do I value most? Or what am I willing to stand for, even if I stand alone? Most people never stop to write this down. They drift, react, conform. But Adams says, a drifting life is not a fulfilled one. You don't need the world's approval. You need your own clarity. Start by asking yourself this. 1. What truly matters to me beyond money, fame, or applause? 2. What do I want to be remembered for? 3. In 5 words, how would I describe the kind of human I want to be? Maybe your answers are kind, honest, brave, focused, free. Let those become your code. Then live it. In your work, in your relationships, in your quiet moments when no one's watching. Because integrity isn't what you say, it's what you repeat when life gets hard. Adams observed even in his time, people were slaves to outside expectations. They got jobs they didn't love, said yes when they wanted to scream no, buried their passions for the sake of stability, image, and safety. But here's what pressure never gives you: peace. The more you chase what the world wants, the further you drift from what you want. And one day you wake up, realizing you've built a life that looks perfect from the outside, but feels hollow on the inside. That's why Adams insists, a simple life lived by personal truth is richer than 1,000 applause-filled lies. Imagine your life as a house. If you build it on sand, on trends, opinions, or fear, the first storm will break it down. But if you build it on stone, on timeless values, purpose, and soul truth, no pressure can shake it. So write your foundation. Even if it's just 3 sentences. I believe in truth over comfort. I serve not for credit but for character. I choose purpose even when the path is unclear. This becomes your armor, your compass, your mirror. It's not enough to write your philosophy. You must live it, not perfectly, but consistently. When people gossip, you remain honest. When shortcuts tempt, you choose the long road. When fear says stay small, you act anyway because courage is part of who you are. And slowly, your life begins to reflect the quiet power of someone who knows who they are. Not because the world told them, but because they chose to decide for themselves. So what's the message here? Don't borrow your beliefs. Don't rent your values. Write your own philosophy. Then live by it, gently, proudly, daily. And that's when life truly begins. Because when you know who you are, you can. Part 5. The power of quiet action. You don't need noise. You just need to begin. Most people think change happens with a bang. A big announcement. A major leap. A viral success. But George Matthew Adams thought differently. He believed that the real power doesn't lie in what's loud. It lives in what's consistent, what's quiet, and what's done without applause. In his own words, he reminds us, you can think, you can dream, but only action builds the bridge from desire to destiny. In other words, thinking is potential, action is power. We wait so much. We wait for the right time, the perfect mood, more confidence, less fear. But Adams whispers the truth. If you wait to feel ready, you may wait forever. The first step doesn't need to be huge. It just needs to be real. So write one page. Make that call. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Say what you've been holding in. Say yes or say no. Start small, but start. Because once you take that first step, momentum begins to grow. And momentum is the magic the world never sees, but always feels. In today's world of instant likes and public validation, we forget. The deepest roots grow in silence. You don't need to broadcast your efforts. You just need to keep showing up. Day after day. Quietly. Honestly. Relentlessly. Ask yourself these 3 questions every morning. 1. What is one small action I can take today toward what matters? 2. What am I avoiding out of fear, and how can I face it for just 5 minutes? 3. How can I act in a way today that aligns with who I want to become? Don't aim to be perfect. Aim to be in motion. Because progress isn't made in leaps. It's made in quiet, deliberate steps. Sometimes we mistake silence for inaction. But George Matthew Adams saw a deeper truth. Silence can be full of movement, a focused mind, a single choice, a gentle decision to begin again. That's where real transformation happens. Not on stages, not in crowds, but in bedrooms at 6 a.m., in journals that no one reads, in long walks where you whisper to yourself, I can do this. Part 6. Serving others strengthens you. When you lift others, you rise too. In a world chasing personal success, George Matthew Adams quietly reminds us of a forgotten truth. The best way to grow yourself is to give yourself. Service, real, humble, genuine service, is not about charity or praise. It's about becoming a person who matters in ways that no job title ever could. You see, we often think helping others is about being kind to them. But what if it's also about healing you? When you encourage someone, you become more courageous. When you show up for others, you learn what it means to be dependable. When you give your time, attention, or care, your own life becomes richer. It's not a transaction. It's transformation. Adams believed you don't need to be a hero to serve. You just need to care, enough to act. Hold the door. Say a kind word. Listen without interrupting. Help without expecting anything back. These may seem small, but they echo. They plant seeds of humanity in a world that desperately needs them. And each time you give, you grow. Here's the beautiful twist. The more you give, the more you gain. Not in things, but in meaning, in self-respect, in peace, in quiet pride. You become someone you admire. Not because you took more, but because you gave when it counted. Part 7. Make today count, again and again. What you do today becomes who you are tomorrow. Life is not lived in someday. It's not lived in big, rare moments or in future plans that never start. Life, real, meaningful, powerful life, is built today. And George Matthew Adams returns to this theme again and again. It's today that is the paramount problem always. Because no matter how big your dream or how long your journey, it always begins right here, with today. Think of your life like a book. Each day is a page. Some people spend years waiting to write the perfect chapter, while others quietly fill one page at a time, with effort, with heart, with intention. And in the end, the second group writes the better story. Because consistency beats intensity. And presence beats pressure. How to make today count. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do something that moves you forward. Ask yourself, what's one meaningful thing I can do today? How can I show up fully, even just for 1 hour? If this day were my last, what would I regret not doing? Then do it. Even if it's small. Even if it's quiet. Because what you do today echoes tomorrow. Part 8. Failure isn't the end, it's your turning point. The fall isn't final unless you refuse to rise. Everyone fears failure. It stings. It embarrasses. It makes you question everything you believed about yourself. But George Matthew Adams believed something different, something powerful. Your mistakes are your best teachers, if you study them with courage instead of shame. He didn't see failure as something to hide. He saw it as a doorway. A sharp, honest mirror showing us where to grow, not where to quit. You see, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. It's the testing ground where strength is forged. The moment when your dreams ask, do you really want this? And the truth is, those who rise the highest are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail and still keep going. Adams encourages us. When you fall, don't panic. Pause. Reflect. What did I learn? Reframe. What is this trying to teach me? Restart. How can I try again, wiser this time? It's not about erasing the failure. It's about transforming through it. And each time you rise, you carry with you a deeper strength. Part 9. Believe in yourself, especially when no one else does. The world will doubt you. Don't join them. There will be days when no one claps for you. No one cheers. No one believes in your dream. No one sees your potential. And on those days, you'll feel small. Question: alone. But George Matthew Adams offers a life-saving truth. When belief from the outside fades, turn inward and believe anyway. Because in the silence of doubt, you must become your own echo. Anyone can believe in themselves when things are going well. But it's during the storms, the rejections, the delays, the quiet struggles, that self-belief truly matters. Adams reminds us, you don't become strong by being praised. You become strong by trusting yourself in the absence of praise. It's not arrogance. It's faith. The deep, quiet kind that says, I don't know how, but I will. How to build unshakable inner belief. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start showing up for yourself. Here's how. Keep promises to yourself, even the small ones. Speak kindly to your own mind, you're listening. Do one hard thing each day and celebrate it. Every time you do what your fear says you can't, you are building proof that you're stronger than you think. Adams believed that belief isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you choose, even if you feel unsure, even if you feel unworthy, because belief is a seed. And once planted, with time, effort, and repetition, it becomes a tree that no storm can shake. Part 10. Build a life of character, not just comfort. Comfort may please you. Character will define you. We all want ease. We seek safety, stability, a life with less stress, more peace. But George Matthew Adams gently warns us. A comfortable life without character is like a house with no foundation. One hard storm and it crumbles. You see, comfort can protect you from pain, but only character can carry you through it. What is character really? Character isn't about being perfect. It's about being real and reliable, even when no one's watching. It's saying no to shortcuts. It's doing what's right, not what's easy. It's choosing patience when frustration is louder. It's keeping your word, even when it's inconvenient. Adams believed that a person of character may not rise fast, but they rise deep. And once they rise, they don't fall easily. There's nothing wrong with comfort. But when it becomes your main goal, you slowly give up your strength. You avoid risk. You say yes when you want to say no. You stop growing because growth is uncomfortable. But Adams reminds us, character is born in discomfort, in struggle, in choice. If life feels hard, maybe you're not failing. Maybe you're forging something greater inside you. How to build character daily. You don't need dramatic changes. Just quiet, deliberate choices. Speak honestly even when it's awkward. Admit mistakes and take full ownership. Follow through on small commitments. Choose respect, even when someone else doesn't. Every time you do what your values ask, not your comfort, you strengthen the spine of your soul. Part 11. Start over, as many times as you need to. It's never too late to begin. Again. We all stumble. We all have chapters we wish we could erase. Days we're not proud of. Moments when we lost the path, or lost ourselves. And in those quiet hours, when guilt or shame tries to weigh us down, George Matthew Adams offers us this gentle truth. Each day of your life, you can square away for a fresh start. Not just once. Not just when life gives permission. But whenever your soul says, it's time to begin again. There's something deeply healing about these words. I'm starting over. They carry no arrogance, only honesty. They don't deny the past, but they refuse to be held hostage by it. Adams believed that life isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to reset, with hope, with humility, with heart. Begin again, not because you failed, but because you've grown. Maybe you feel behind, too old, too lost, too far gone. But listen carefully. There's no clock on the soul. The world may measure progress in years and achievements, but the heart, it measures in courage. And every time you choose to start over, no matter the reason, you are proving courage lives in you still. How to begin again today. You don't need a grand plan. You just need a moment of truth. Try this. Forgive yourself for what didn't work. Let go of the timeline you thought you had to follow. Take one small step, not toward perfection but toward alignment. Even a deep breath, taken with fresh intention, is a form of beginning. Part 12. Leave a legacy of light. Live so that when you're gone, your light remains. At the end of it all, the goals, the days, the quiet efforts and hard-earned lessons, we're all asking the same question. Will my life mean something to someone? George Matthew Adams believed that the answer isn't found in money, status, or applause. It's found in how we live, and what we leave behind in the hearts of others. Live simply, serve quietly, love deeply. That is a lasting legacy. Adams reminds us that legacies aren't built in public. They're built in private. In the way you speak to people when no one's watching. In the way you show up for those who can't repay you. In the values you pass on through action, not just words. It's not about being famous. It's about being remembered for how your presence made others feel safe, seen, and stronger. There are people in this world who walk into a room, and without saying much, they bring peace. That's not magic. That's character. That's someone who chose, day after day, to be kind, to be honest, to be grounded. Adams believed every one of us can be that kind of light. We don't need a platform. We just need intention. Your legacy isn't something you build at the end of your life. It begins today, in how you treat others, in what you prioritize, in how bravely you live your truth. Don't wait to make an impact. Be the reason someone believes in good people again. Be the example someone else models their life after. Be the voice that says, softly but firmly, you can. So, what has You Can really taught us? That life isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's not about noise, it's about truth. And it's not about being the best, it's about being real, courageous, and willing. Willing to grow. Willing to serve. Willing to rise, again and again. Your legacy isn't a sentence written on stone. It's a feeling, etched into hearts, by the way you live, love, and lead. So live well. Stand tall. Shine quietly. Because one day when you're no longer here, your light, your words, your choices, your courage, will whisper to someone else, you can. And that is a legacy worth leaving. Thank you.